we committed to one track, the podcast. Every week, we showed up on this show relentlessly and produced amazing high-quality content. And you're listening to the show is a testament to what it means to play the long game. Welcome to the Schools of Excellence podcast, a place for insightful conversations about building sustainable schools of excellence. Join me each week as we explore the importance of leading with your values, creating impact, and leaving a lasting legacy. My goal on the show is to provide you with clarity, elevate your mindset, and equip you with practical strategies and inspiration. I'm Chani Wolshansky, a proud mother of four, a former New Yorker, now savoring sunny Florida vibes. With a professional journey spanning 18 years across all levels of school leadership, I bring nuanced insight that delve into the intricate details of running a center, as well as the broader visionary aspects of leadership. Thank you for joining me for this conversation. Let's build a legacy of excellence together. Hello there, and welcome back to another episode of the Schools of Excellence podcast. We are continuing our series on winning in the dark, and this is part 2. So in today's episode, we're really going to dive deep into the challenge that often lurks in the shadows, the comparison trap. So school leaders faced with the pressures of constant comparison will consistently find themselves navigating the complexities of winning in the dark. And so we're going to really uncover the strategies for cultivating confidence, embracing a self-assured approach, and fostering endurance and empowered leadership. So in the world of school leadership, winning in the dark really, again, involves transcending the comparison trap and making sure that you are not getting stuck in looking over your shoulder as you're constantly trying to build your school. So where does confidence come from? I often talk about how confidence and self-trust, how we build those, is actually a little less popular than most people talk about. Confidence and self-trust come from keeping promises that you make to yourself in private, in the dark. When you make promises and you keep them without public accolades, without external validation, without every single person knowing about it, when you keep promises to yourself, you build your confidence. You build your self-trust. And so you are way less susceptible to falling into the comparison trap. As a leader, when you're navigating just all the complexities, the comparison trap is so easy to fall into, because I almost call it this really formidable adversary in leadership, because the temptation to measure your success against external benchmarks, against external rankings and neighboring schools not only erodes your confidence, it diverts all of your energy, time, and attention and your unique strengths to the comparison game. So the question I get a lot is like, how do school leaders navigate this trap? And what are the consequences of really succumbing to constant comparison? So let's talk about some of the consequences of the comparison trap. Constant comparison leads to a gradual erosion of self-trust. The pressure to conform to external standards overshadows the distinct qualities that it takes to actually lead with confidence and internal trust. And so every time you succumb to the comparison game, you chip away at your own self-confidence. So leaders come to me because they're like, I want to be more confident. I want to trust myself more. I want to trust my decision-making. I want to stop talking myself out of all the things that I want to do. But they speak out of one side of their mouth, and then on the other side of the mouth, they chip away at their confidence. Another consequence of succumbing to comparison is you divert energy from your unique strengths. Right? So what happens is while you're comparing, you're diverting the leader's focus from recognizing and amplifying the unique strengths of their school and their community to embracing a one-size-fits-all mentality, right? And so you are not innovative, even though everyone's like writes on their website, we're innovative, we're cutting edge, we're this. Yeah, every school wrote that. Everyone's writing that. Everyone's copycatting each other, because everyone is afraid to take a stand and do something different. It is so difficult to get stuck in the comparison game. I know I got stuck in that trap for years. And when I finally unhooked myself from that was about 2.5 years ago, when we committed as a company to choosing maintenance for 2 years. For 24 months, we chose to maintain our business revenue, our profit margin, everything was maintained. Now, we ended up making more than we did the year before, but that wasn't the goal. The goal was to maintain. Why did I choose that? Why did I choose not to get stuck down the comparison game of what everyone else was doing, which was growing and innovating and putting out new things and all of this kind of stuff and constantly putting out new stuff? We committed to one track, the podcast. Every week we showed up on this show relentlessly and produced amazing high quality content. And you're listening to the show is a testament to what it means to play the long game. We have people that have listened to every single episode. And that reminds me of what it means to win in the dark. A podcast takes a very long time till it gets its traction, right? It takes a long time until it has the reach that you want it to, the listenership. And there's still so many benchmarks that I want to hit with the podcast. We've had a lot of success and we've had a lot of the benchmarks that I've wanted to, but there's still a lot of growth that I want to do. But producing the show every single week is a testament to winning in the dark, right? It's in the shadows. I sit in my office in the quiet. There's no windows in my podcasting office, right? Nobody thanks me for recording the episode. Every once in a while we'll get like, hey, that episode was amazing. Thank you so much. But rarely do we get, accolades or thank you messages for recording a podcast episode. People listen to the episode and they move on, right? But I'm not recording the podcast for the accolades or for the thank yous or for whatever it is, even though it's really beautiful to get them. I'm recording the podcast because it is part of my legacy game. It is my legacy body of work in the world. And so even though we get thousands of downloads every single month, and I hear from no one if they liked it, if they didn't like it, but every once in a while, I know the impact. I'll hear about it from someone or I'll see someone at an event and I know that I'm playing the long game. So why is that valuable here when we're talking about comparison? Because I've chosen podcasting as my medium to build my legacy body of work. Now, there's so many different ways that you could grow a company, right? There's speaking on stages. There's, webinars and workshops and, cross-pollination and partnerships and affiliates. And there's all these different things, right? And everyone's doing all the things, right? It seems like everyone's doing all the things. I'm not speaking on a million stages. I do speak on some stages, but I don't speak on a million stages. Would I like to speak on more stages? Sure. But I'm intentionally choosing not to because I'm choosing, again, going out of the comparison trap. In the season of life that I'm in, I am prioritizing my faith and my family over speaking in public on a lot of stages, which would pull me away from my family. And so I've chosen a different medium that looks a little bit different, that has a lot less accolades, that I can't post pictures about or whatever it is. It's a different medium, but I'm choosing it intentionally because this is the way I'm choosing to grow my business, right? This is the way I'm choosing to create impact, not comparing myself to other people. It's really hard to do this. It's really, really hard to do this. So when it comes to comparison, right? How does a school leader embrace a self-assured approach? One of the strategies that you could take is from one of our clients, Emily. Emily is a seasoned school leader, and she's really mastered the art of winning in the dark when it comes to the comparison trap. To the outside world, right, her school is flourishing. But what a lot of people don't realize is the intentional and strategic approach that she is taking behind the scenes. So there's this external perception, and a lot of people commend her for making these very innovative decisions that really set her school apart. And they're always kind of looking like, well, how did she do this, right? How is this happening? But in the dark, in the shadows, behind the scenes, what Emily is doing is she is aligning every decision with the school's mission and values. She focuses on what truly benefits the children and the community rather than chasing the trends or the benchmarks that are set by others. So everyone's looking and saying, oh my God, look at all these innovative decisions. But the real winning is the winning in the dark, which nobody sees, which is every decision that she's making and making sure that it's aligned with school values. Let's take another one. So we have another client. Her name is Lorraine. And again, whenever I share client stories, I change identifying details and names. We do have a whole series on student success and client success that you can listen to. And those are our clients, their real names, their real voices, their real stories. The stories that I share are true. I change some of the details. So I have another client, Lorraine, and her school was recognized for a lot of its kind of diverse achievements. And a lot of the neighboring schools were wondering how they managed to excel in so many different areas. And what people did not know is what Lorraine was doing in the dark, is she was ensuring that every win, any win that any of her teachers or leadership team achieved in the context of innovation was celebrated. And she was constantly creating this internal culture that created this sense of achievement that goes way beyond external metrics. So she was teaching her internal team how to celebrate wins in connection to innovation and diversity. That's what she was doing in the shadows. That's what she was doing in the dark. And then you kind of see it on the outside. There's a really great quote by a famous boxer, and I'm sorry that I don't remember the name, but he talks about how the practice that you make in the dark, in the cold, gets revealed under the bright lights. So when you're under the bright lights in the arena, that's when it's revealed how many hours you actually spent in the dark, how much time you actually committed to being in the shadows. Everyone wants overnight success. There's a lot of people that want other people's achievements, other people's success, other people's stuff. But so few of leaders are actually ready to do what it takes to win in the dark, to do the work that is required in the shadows, because it doesn't have immediate gratification or accolades. There was another interesting thing. We had another client, Melanie, and what was going on in her center was incredible, because she had teachers that were really taking initiative on a lot of new projects. And they were feeling very empowered, but also not just empowered to go and like bulldoze through things, but they were really strong and decisive and discerning about how they were doing things. And it was really contributing to this incredible work environment. And I remember a lot of our other clients were looking at Melanie. They were like, what is she doing? Like, what's happening, right? Again, what was she doing in the dark? Melanie was really committed to the one-on-ones, really acknowledging individual strengths and contributions. Her one-on-ones were non-negotiable with her team. She made sure it was always on the calendar. She made sure she had coverage. It was a non-negotiable. And so rather than creating this competitive atmosphere, she cultivated so much internal strength of each team member, which turned to each team member wanting to contribute, because when you feel good about yourself and your bucket's full, you have capacity to give to others. So there was this spirit and energy where everyone plays this crucial role in the success of the school. Now, again, all of those things are in the shadows. The one-on-ones are in the shadows. The gratitude is in the shadows. The acknowledging individual strengths and contribution is in the shadows. All of these things happen in the dark over a period of days, weeks, and months. And only then does it start to blossom into this spirit of collaboration. When you listen to this, you're like, so many people come to me, how do I make a more collaborative work environment? How do I do this? How do I do this? Right? And we're looking for all this like binary tactical answers, right? And again, leading a one-on-one is a tactical approach. But here's the problem. We do the tactical approach once or twice, and then we're like, I don't have time. Or Christmas came and then this happened. Or, this thing happened and that's why I don't do it anymore. But I did it 2 or 3 times, and I didn't really see much traction. Yeah, that's not called winning in the dark. Winning in the dark is committing to doing the one-on-ones again and again and again and again, even when you don't see traction right away. Everyone wants to see traction right away. And if you find yourself in that trap, that is the perfect mile marker that you need to practice learning how to win in the dark, learning how to be more comfortable with pushing off winning, delaying your winning. doing things for months before you expect to see any results. This notion of putting in $1 and expecting to see a return right away is the falsification of capitalism that exists everywhere in Western society. Yes, there is a concept of putting in money in Facebook ads and seeing a return. We're looking for that direct ROI. Yes, there are certain things where when you invest, boom, the money comes out right away. And then leading a school, okay, very much like parenting, you invest in parenting for 2 decades before you actually get to see, were the efforts that I did when my kid was 2 actually paying off? You won't get to see that until your kid's 20 or 25 or 30. Parenting is the ultimate delayed gratification game. It is like the winning in the dark of all winnings in the dark. It is so difficult because it is years before you see any results. Leading a school is so similar to that. It takes a long time until you truly see the traction. But if you only feel like you're winning when you see the traction, you're going to give up right away. Winning has to be in the dark. Even when I don't see the results, I'm committing and knowing that I'm making impact. Even when I don't get external validation, I know I'm doing the right thing because the act of doing the right thing is the reward. The act of doing the right thing is the reward. And that's hard. So I want to leave you with this. I want to wrap up today's episode here. Winning in the dark and overcoming the comparison trap is a practice. It is not something that it's like, oh, I heard this podcast episode and, I really started this process and now I know I'm winning in the dark. It'll take you a while for you to start to actually recognize, wow, I didn't get any validation for that, but I feel really good that I did it anyways. I'm proud of myself. I feel fulfilled. I feel happy. I feel at peace. I'm not chasing things. I feel calm. I'm allowed to be still. I'm not running to go pursue the next project yet. I'm just sitting in, some of the stillness right now. You're learning to enjoy the transformative process of within. Until next time, till our next episode, which will be about shame and anger. Remember to stay inspired, keep building endurance, and keep winning in the dark. Take care. If you are loving the Schools of Excellence podcast and have gotten any value out of it for your school and for yourself, I would love if you can do 2 things for me. 1, subscribe to the show so you never miss an episode. And 2, can you please leave us a review? Reviews help other school leaders know that this is the podcast to learn about building a school of excellence. And I'd be so grateful if you can do that for us. Your help and support make this show be able to listen to by thousands of other school leaders around the globe. Thanks so much for listening and giving us your time and attention each week.